Just when Israel thought it was going to get away from the case, South Africa filed against it. Boom. Other countries are coming in to do the same. Hello and welcome to my channel. Now, it looks like Israel will be very busy for the next several years because it will be case after case brought after them at the ICJ and ICC. Now, the breaking news is that Indonesia and Slovenia have filed a case against Israel. They are going to speak on a new charge against Israel at the ICJ, which is about the policies towards Palestinians violating international law, and that the illegal occupation of Palestine also violates international law. Now, Indonesia will be taking Israel to the ICJ court on a new charge, and Reuters also cited the Swiss prosecutors as confirming that they filed a criminal complaint against Israel's president during his participation in the Davos Economic Forum. Just when I thought that is all, then boom, Chile and Mexico also submitted a case at the International Criminal Court, ICC, to investigate the crimes committed against Palestinians. Now, I just don't know how Israel will get away with all of these cases. But for now, check out these videos as different people share their thoughts on this new development. I will be right back.
A new charge will be brought against Israel at the ICJ by Indonesia and Slovenia about their policies towards Palestinians violating international law, and that their illegal occupation of Palestine also violates international law.
Indonesia and Slovenia back further ICJ proceedings against Israel. This is an entire separate international court case that is separate from what this court case that South Africa has brought forward against Israel. And this is beautiful. This is amazing because it's about time that Israel pays for everything they have actually done to the Palestinians, because it's not just what the South Africa has brought forward. There's so many other atrocities they have done, and it's about time that so many other countries bring them back to court for different and multiple other international court proceedings. Both countries say that they will be joining proceedings that seek an advisory opinion on Israel's control of and policies on the occupied Palestinian territory. And I believe this is this is for like the whole 75 plus years that they have controlled the Palestinian territories. And as they should, it's about time for Israel to be sent to court and pay for what they have done to the Palestinians. And I hope other countries also get up and back this ICJ proceedings and the one in South Africa. But yeah, it's honestly, it's about time. That's all I can say about this. It's about time. We have watched such brutal bombardment of the Palestinians, and it's God knows all the things that they have actually endured for the past 75 plus years. Like, this is what we are just learning about. This is what we are seeing. But what about the things that we didn't see? The things that we probably never find out about? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, it seems like Israel is going to be dragged right back into the International Court of Justice because of the new charges that are being brought on against them, this time by Indonesia. And this one will be separate than South Africa's genocide case because these charges will be on their 75-year illegal occupation of Palestine. It's also being reported that Mexico and Chile have jointly appealed to the International Criminal Court's prosecutor to investigate war crimes that are being committed by Israel in Gaza right now. And all of this really brings a tear to my eyes because it's really beautiful to see the rest of the world finally waking up to the crimes in which Israel has been committing against the Palestinians for decades and is forcing them to face the justice in which they deserve, because I promise you that this is only the beginning.
I've got breaking news. Slovenia and Indonesia will be taking Israel to ICJ, along with Cuba supports South Africa, and finally Mexico and Chile referred the case of Palestine to the ICC. Guys, I cannot stress how important it is to continue sending letters, signing petitions, advocating for Palestine by bringing Israel to justice. So I'm asking every single one of you to continue to send letters, sign the petition. We have to continue to amplify the voices for Palestine, guys. So come on, let's keep the pressure on. Now, as per usual, everything is linked on our bio, guys, as you guys can see here. Signing, keep sending.
So we already knew universe bless South Africa, but now not only is South Africa taken Israel to the ICJ, so is Indonesia. But wait, it gets better. The Swiss also filed a case at ICJ against them. But wait! Chile and Mexico. I think Israel is going to be very busy for the next several years as they see case after case brought against them at the ICJ after decades of them being just slammed by the General Assembly and doing nothing. Something's finally happening. I love this for them.
Now, Israel's newspaper reported that Indonesia has filed a new lawsuit against the Israeli occupation at the International Court of Justice, ICJ, in The Hague. In doing so, Indonesia joined South Africa, which filed the first lawsuit against Israel for committing genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. Now, the Indonesian Foreign Ministry had previously assembled a team of experts to help draft Indonesia's ICJ case to hold Israel accountable for its policies and practices in the occupied Palestinian territories. And according to the local Jakarta Post website, Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi said that the case will help support global order based on international law as well as support the Palestinians. Now, Marsudi's statement was made ahead of a meeting of dozens of international law experts and academics in the capital, Jakarta. Now, last week, the ICJ had two public hearings as part of the start of looking into the lawsuit filed by South Africa against Israel on charges of committing crimes of that against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. On 29th December, South Africa filed a lawsuit before the ICJ accusing Israel of committing crimes amounting to genocide in the Gaza Strip, which has been subjected to a fierce war for more than 3 months. Now, for his part, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu asserted nobody will stop us, not The Hague, not the Iranian-led axis of evil, and not anybody else. Now, Netanyahu announced in a press conference, we will continue in the Gaza Strip until we achieve all our objectives. The Hague and the axis of evil will not stop us, but did not clarify what he meant by the axis of evil. Now, Indonesian Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi will speak at the International Court of Justice, ICJ, on February 19 about Israel's occupation of Palestine. Now, she is preparing by consulting legal experts, and this prep includes a discussion in Jakarta about supporting Palestine's independence through law. The UN General Assembly asked the ICJ for legal advice about Israel's actions in Palestinian territories, including East Jerusalem. They made this request on January 17, 2023. Now, Foreign Minister Retno has said that expert advice is necessary to create a detailed legal opinion to show the world Israel's violations of international law. Israel's actions like taking over Palestinian land, building in the West Bank, and altering Jerusalem's status break international law. According to FM Retno, these actions should be halted and held accountable for breaking the law. She believes countries should stop supporting Israel, whereas the global community, including the UN, should not accept Israel's actions as legal, she added. Now, Indonesia supports the efforts of the UN General Assembly to obtain an advisory opinion from the International Court of Justice. International law must be upheld. The right of the Palestinian people to self-determination must be respected, and Israel's occupation of Palestine, which has lasted for more than 70 years, will not erase the right of the Palestinian people to independence, said the foreign minister. South Africa has taken Israel to the ICJ, accusing it of genocide. It has asked the UN's highest court to stop Israeli military actions in Gaza immediately, and this is necessary to protect against further severe and irreparable harm to the rights of the Palestinian people. PTI quoted South African President Cyril Ramaphosa as saying, President Ramaphosa has urged for unrestricted and broader humanitarian access to provide essential aid and services to everyone in Gaza. Now, Indonesia and Slovenia have shown their support for another case against Israel at the International Court of ICJ concerning violations of the rights of Palestinians. Both countries say that they will be joining proceedings that seek an advisory opinion on Israel's control of and policies on the occupied Palestinian territory. The UN General Assembly voted in December 2022 to request that the ICJ issue an advisory opinion on whether Israeli policies against Palestinians violated international law. Now, the request was made almost a year before the beginning of Israel's ongoing war on Gaza, in which more than 24,000 people have been unalived in the Palestinian territory. Slovenia said it would take part in the hearing due to take place in February. Now, Israel's war on Gaza and increased Israeli violence in the occupied West Bank were the reasons for its decision to take part in the action. This is a very broad spectrum of alleged violations that have been committed in the region for decades and whose horrific consequences are still visible today. Slovenian Foreign Minister Tanja Fajon said at a press conference. Now, in the light of recent events in Gaza and the West Bank, Slovenia, as one of the few EU countries, has decided to actively participate and present its views in these proceedings before the International Court of Justice, which has been asked to give an advisory opinion. In a separate case at the ICJ, public hearings were held last week for South Africa's case that accused Israel of committing genocide in Gaza, and South Africa's case against Israel was backed by several countries. Now, a decision on whether to back the demands of South Africa, which includes an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, is due to be made by the court in the next few weeks. The separate ICJ hearing, in which Slovenia and Indonesia will participate, will begin on 19 February. Now, still on the same, President Isaac Herzog has been targeted with a criminal complaint during a visit to Switzerland, Swiss prosecutors said Friday, amid allegations of crimes against humanity over the war in Gaza. Now, the Swiss Federal Prosecutor's Office, BA, confirmed that it had received a criminal complaint against Herzog, who was at the World Economic Forum's annual meeting in Davos on Thursday to discuss the Gaza war. Appearing to dismiss the validity of any such complaint, a spokesman for Herzog's office told the Times of Israel on Friday only that the president of the State of Israel participated in the World Economic Forum as planned and represented the position of the State of Israel and the importance and justness of the struggle to secure the release of the hostages. A spokesman for Israel's foreign ministry did not respond to a request for comment, and sources in the government suggested that the complaint was publicity stunt with no chance of advancing to any investigation. Now, Herzog returned to Israel Thursday evening following his appearance at the conference. In a statement, Swiss prosecutors said that the criminal complaints will now be examined in accordance with the usual procedure, adding that they were in contact with the foreign ministry to examine the question of the immunity of the person concerned. It did not say what the specific complaints were or who had filed them, but a statement allegedly issued by the group behind the complaint, entitled Legal Action Against Humanity and obtained by AFP, said several unnamed individuals had filed charges with federal prosecutors and with authorities in Basel, Bern, and Zurich. Now, the statement said the plaintiffs were seeking a criminal prosecution in parallel to a case brought before the UN's International Court of Justice by South Africa, which accuses Israel of genocide in its offensive in Gaza. Addressing the issue of immunity, the statement suggested that it could be lifted in certain circumstances, including in cases of alleged crimes against humanity, claiming that these conditions are met in this case. Feel free to share your contribution down below in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video.